I thought you said Donnelly was coming straight back.
I thought he was, sir.
Where is he then?
I really don't know.
And what's on his calendar?
Nothing.
All day?
Well, he's had a lot of work to catch up on. He's been away.
I have to see him.
Would you like to come back?
No, I'll wait.
Can I get you another cup of coffee?
No, thank you.
Nice, aren't they?
Who do they belong to?
Mr. Heinz.
The man that works for Donnelly?
Yes.
Where is he?
Well, I believe he left town, sir.
When?
A little while ago.
Where was he going?
I don't know.
Then how do you know he was leaving town?
Well, he had a suitcase.
And you don't know where he was going?
No, sir. Just a minute, sir. You can't go in there. That's Mr. Donnelly's personal communications
Not
room.
to
It's
me.
private. I'm sorry.
Are you
sir.
trying to tell the police commissioner that he can't go in this room?
I promised Mr. Donnelly...
I intend to go in that room, even if I have to arrest you first to do it.
Jimmy Lee, we had a wonderful time, but we really have to go.
Oh, come on, have another drink.
Well, we don't drink.
Well, what's the hurry?
Well, the babysitter can only stay till 5.
And the twins got to be fed.
How are they?
Oh, they're wonderful, thank you.
Hey, have I shown you the latest baby pictures?
At least 5 times, honey. They're very adorable.
Hey, they take after their mother.
Well, fortunately, they have Brian's temperament, though.
Parenthood seems to have agreed with both of you.
Well, that's the best thing that ever happened to us, don't you think?
Next to meeting you, dear.
Jimmy Lee, thanks.
Well, are you sure you don't want to go out to dinner or something?
What, miss having dinner with the twins? I can't tell you the thrill it is to have smashed carrots thrown at you.
Oh, yes.
Can we give you a ride home?
Oh, if you could drop me off at Robert's office.
Sure.
Great. Thank you.
That's great. We really enjoyed having you.
Nice
Take care, huh?
Nice. Thanks, Julie.
I enjoyed it. Hey, we all won, right?
This is Scorpio. Now listen to me. Check all the aliases that I gave you. And put an immediate priority on it. Have that report telexed into my computer. Right.
Ramsey here.
Have you put up that APB I asked for?
Yes, Robert. The whole city's covered and the surrounding areas.
Any word?
No, nothing so far.
What about the airports?
I got men checking them, bus depot, train stations. No sign of them.
You may have driven.
Well, I've got roadblocks set up on all the major highways leading out of town. Still nothing.
Damn it, this is our hottest lead so far.
Robert, what does Donnelly have to say about this guy?
Well, he hasn't come back yet.
I wonder what information he's got on him. After all, the guy did work for him. You'd think he would have checked him out.
You'd think so. Believe me, whatever this guy Heinz is doing working for Donnelly is precisely the first question I intend to ask him.
Then go ahead and ask, Robert.
Oh, hello, Holly.
Hello. Where's Robert?
He's out.
May I ask where?
I don't think I can tell you.
Why?
I can't.
Is Robert all right?
Well, he's busy.
Yes, I know.
I can't even tell you when he'll be back.
Well, I can wait.
Holly, I wouldn't wait for him.
Why?
Well, excuse me. Ramsey. What? Oh, damn it. Oh, stay with it. That's the hottest lead we've had so far.
What's going on?
I'm not at liberty to say.
Bert, why are you acting like a cop with me? Is it about Tony?
Holly, I really can't say.
Oh, for goodness sake, it's not like I'm going to tell anyone.
Look, if Robert wants you to know, I'm sure he'll tell you.
I wouldn't be so sure.
What can I say?
Probably a great deal.
Holly, could I give you a little advice?
About what?
Robert?
Well, if it'll explain his strange behavior for the last 24
Well,
hours.
it just might.
Yes.
It might. It's just that things that are happening right now are getting pretty close to the bone for Robert.
I don't understand.
Well, some things have surfaced that are really getting to Robert personally.
What do you mean?
I shouldn't have said anything.
No, wait. I'm
Holly-
concerned about Robert. I don't understand what's going on. There's something troubling him, and I want to help.
Well, you can. By being patient, and just don't ask too much of him right now. Most of all, don't make waves.
In what way?
By wanting to know what's going on.
But if I know what's troubling him, maybe I can help.
Holly, Robert's got to get through this on his own. Why don't you just go home and wait for him?
And say nothing?
It's the best thing you could do. Things are happening right now that I think are going to be pretty unpleasant for Robert.
I'll leave my office for a little while and come back, and what do I find? Hysterical secretary in my office in an upheaval. What's going on, good buddy?
Why don't you tell me?
Never seen you like this, Robert.
I'm not sure I've ever felt like this.
Using my communications room? Why?
I made a few calls.
About what?
Business.
You know better to not use my room when I'm not here. What if a message had come through from the WSB headquarters?
I'd have taken it for you.
It's classified.
I'm good at keeping secrets. Perhaps not as good as you.
Meaning?
Meaning, what do you know about an employee of yours, name of Heinz? Does he wear cowboy boots? Like these?
Surely you realize you're not dealing with an outsider.
Pardon me?
I mean, Robert is my husband.
Oh, there's no doubt about that, Holly.
Well, then there's no need for you to be secretive with me, is there?
No need at all.
Then why don't you tell me?
Tell you what?
Bert Ramsey, less than 2 minutes ago, I distinctly heard you on this very telephone say that there's a hot new lead to whoever it is who tried to kill Tony.
That's true.
Then tell me who it is.
Holly, you know that I can't do that. Now, why don't you just go home, and when Robert gets there, whatever he wants to tell you, that's his business.
Nice try, Bert. But forget it. Robert's going to come here first, and this is where I am going to be.
Then why don't you sit down and make yourself comfortable?
Yes, I do recognize these boots, Robert. These are ones very similar to them, belong to Heinz, my production manager. Have you arrested him?
It is getting late.
Oh, I'm sorry. Were you talking to me?
Nothing important.
Oh.
I was just saying it's getting late.
Late for what?
Well, not for anything special, just late in the day.
Oh, I see.
When most people are heading for home?
Bert,
Yes.
forget it.
Holly, you certainly don't make it easy for me.
Now, come on, Bert. When have I ever made trouble for you?
Well, I just wish you'd understand my position.
Oh, I understand your position perfectly. You and Robert are trying to collar whoever it is who's trying to kill Tony.
Well, that's right.
Apparently, something is going on. Naturally, you can't talk about it, not even to me.
Thank heavens you do understand, finally.
So something is going on. I was right.
Oh, Holly, excuse me. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, all right, well, tell the man at the airport to check the flight manifest. All flights going out of Port Charles. After that, have him question airport personnel, the cab drivers, anybody around there, see if they recognize the identification of the suspect, and then get back to me. Very good, thank you. Holly, I really think you should go home. This could be a very, very long night.
Do you think Robert would suggest I go home?
Oh, I'm sure he would.
Well, I don't think he would. Why don't we call him an arse?
Holly, wait a minute. Why don't you take my word? I know Robert. He wouldn't want you to hang around here.
Yes, but I know Robert, too, and I know he would want me here.
I don't think so, but I'll tell him that you were here when he checks in, okay? Better idea. Why don't you write him a sweet little note, and I'll give it to him when he comes in. Here's pen and pad.
You're very accommodating, Bert, but I really would rather tell him myself. Could you ring him for me?
Holly,
You do know where he is, don't you?
Robert and I are always in direct communication.
Meaning you do know.
I can't say.
Then you don't know.
I mean, I can't tell you where he is. Loose lips sink ships. What I'm trying to say is, Robert might not like it.
Rather a strange question, though, isn't it? I mean, why would you think that I'd have arrested him?
When you walk up to me carrying a man's boots, I assume the worst.
They are his boots, then.
No doubt about it. After all, they aren't running the mill, are they?
That's right. But I'm still curious. Why would you think that I'd have arrested him?
Because it's just a matter of time, Robert.
Before he takes a fall?
Yeah, because he's ripe for it. That's why I fired him.
When did that happen?
Just this morning, as a matter of fact. I found some money missing from the office. Heinz was the only one on the premises. Naturally, he denied taking it, of course, but I knew it was him who took the money.
Large amount?
Well, enough to warrant getting rid of him. Coffee? Any more questions, Commissioner?
I'm just curious.
So am I. What's this all about, anyway?
Your former employee might be involved in the attempt on Tony Jones.
Oh, come on, Robert. Heinz? Are you kidding? Strictly amateur night.
Maybe. But you did say that these boots were unusual.
Yes?
The man that wore these boots tried to kill Tony.
Yeah, but I still think it's... What you're trying... Yes. Oh, yes, Bertie is. Yeah, hold on. It's Captain Ramsey for you.
Yes, Bert?
Sorry to interrupt you, Robert, but we've got a lead on Heinz.
Well, that's good news.
Well, not exactly. He took a shuttle flight from here to New York.
And?
Well, the flight got in a little early, and our men missed him at that end by about 5 minutes.
So he's off and running.
Right.
All right, look, I'll be back to the office shortly. Now, when I get there, I want to call a few friends in New York, see if we can beef up this search for him.
Right.
I won't be long. You happen to have a photograph of Heinz?
No. Sorry, Robert. Any other way I can help?
No, not yet, but I'll be in touch.
All right. Robert.
What?
Look, I hope we can forget about that little do we had earlier.
Yeah, I guess we both caught each other at a bad moment.
I thought exactly. That business about the communications room, I guess it was just a knee-jerk response. Protecting it with my life and all, you know.
Well, you are the organization man, aren't you?
Habits die hard.
So they should.
But you do know that I want to help with this Heinz situation as much as I can.
Of course.
And we'll both keep in touch, huh?
Absolutely.
Okay, buddy. See you later.
All right, now, after you check our files, check with New York. He may have a record there. Hopefully, they may even have a mugshot.
Now, if New York does pick him up, do you want him held on an open charge?
Anything. Anything at all till we can build a case on him. Of course, I first have to place him at the hospital at the time of the incident.
How can you do that?
Preferably with a witness who can give a positive ID. You recall that when we were at the hospital, I said that I wasn't acting like or thinking like a WSB agent.
Yeah, right.
Right. So when I started to think that way, I decided to substitute the dummy for Tony on the stretcher.
Yeah, just after the power failure.
Right. The mob of patients came streaming into emergency, and shortly after that, we had the smoke. Now, none of that could have been a coincidence.
Including all the people who got suddenly ill?
Including them.
Well, then, couldn't Heinz have been one of those people, I mean, that got ill? Or couldn't he have been pretending to be ill in order to get into the hospital?
Yeah, Robert, that would have worked.
Yeah. You're right. And I know who might have seen him, either Felicia or Frisco. They were patients at the emergency room at about that time. Try Kelly. See if Felicia's there.
All right, you want Frisco, too?
Yeah. Find him, too, if you can.
Could be it.
Maybe.
Yeah, hello. Oh, Felicia, I'm glad I got you there. This is Captain Ramsey Police Department. Oh, no, it's nothing like that.
Coffee.
No. No, it's just that Commissioner Scorpio would like to talk to you. Yes, that's right. He'd also like to talk to Frisco. Do you know where... Oh, he is? Oh, that's fine. Well, tell him to stay there, and the commissioner will be over to talk to both of you. Right, thank you very much. Frisco's at the diner, too.
Good. Listen, Bert, check with New York, will you?
Yeah, I'll make that call from my office.
Good.
One thing that I haven't got straight yet is, what made you suspect Heinz in the first place?
These. I got a glimpse of these boots when I was pushed up against the wall by that stretcher. Now, Donnelly confirmed that they belonged to Heinz.
You know, there's something about these boots that rings a bell with me, too.
Hmm?
Do you remember Mariah saying that whoever it was who tried to harm her and Laura at the hacienda, he was wearing red boots?
You know, she did.
The same boots that Luke gave to Laura, made by the same bootmaker.
You're right, my dear. You are bloody well right, my smart little genius. Hmm?
Oh, who are you calling?
Mariah.
Do you think she'd be able to identify Heinz?
Hopefully. If she can, and she can place Heinz, it's going to link in a whole lot of people. Thanks for waiting. Can we sit over here?
Right, anywhere you like. I won't be busy for about another half an hour or so.
Huh?
Don't you think we should all sit at one table? Frisco, why don't you join us?
Good idea. All right. I'll get straight to the point. As you know, I'm conducting an ongoing investigation into the attempt on your brother's life.
We know that with very few results.
The results aren't final yet. However, I do have a strong suspect.
Who?
Before we go into that, I'd just like to mention that this is an official police investigation. As such, everything...
We already know that, Robert. Who?
This is precisely the sort of attitude that can't be tolerated. Now, I do have a suspect, yes. And I may or may not be able to prove that he's the person I'm looking for. That is, with your help.
You want us to help? How? I don't know anything about catching criminals.
No, but you do know who you saw and what you saw.
And if either of you saw the suspect...
You still haven't told us what is this guy's name, Robert. That's all I want to know.
Matt Heinz.
The one who works for Mr. Donnelly?
He did.
What do you mean he did?
Sean's fired him, but that's not your problem.
No, my problem is why he tried to kill Tony, what the whole story is.
As I said, he's a suspect. However, there is something else you should know about him.
What?
When we were all in Mexico together, it's quite possible he was staying at the hacienda.
At my grandmother's?
I called her before I came here. She's flying up tomorrow.
Mariah's coming in here tomorrow.
Yes, she arrives at noon tomorrow.
Well, that's wonderful, but she doesn't know anything about Matt Heinz.
No, but I'm hoping you do. Now, I want to reconstruct every move that you made the day of the incident at the hospital.
Robert, why would this guy have attacked Tony? Why?
We don't know that he did yet. First, I have to place him on the scene. And the big question there is, how did he get into the hospital in the first place?
Oh, well, that's easy.
You mean you know?
Yeah, I was there. We both were there.
Wait a minute here. Back up a little. We were both there. We were where?
We were at the student union when everybody got sick. Matt got sick, too, and we went to the emergency at the hospital.
Felicia, are you absolutely certain that you saw Matt Heinz in the emergency room at the hospital?
Of course I'm certain. We were at the student union. We all got sick together. You remember.
Well, I remember being there, but it was crazy. It was all the confusion. I don't know.
Well, I'm certain. I not only saw him, but he confirmed it the other day.
You mean you've spoken to him since?
And it was at Sean's office. I said I was in the emergency room, and I turned around and looked for him, and he was gone.
What was his response to that?
He said he wasn't as sick as the others and that he didn't want to be treated, so he just left.
Okay. You said you've seen Heinz in Donnelly's office. How often?
Several times. Why?
Because the more you've seen him, it means the more you're going to be able to recall. Now, at this point, what I want you to do is probably establish a log of every time, every recollection that you were ever together.
It's usually better if you put that kind of log down in writing.
A log? This is crazy. If you know the guy tried to kill my brother, why don't you arrest him? If he doesn't tell you anything, beat the hell out of him.
Frisco, look. That's not the way it's done. You do that in movies, perhaps, but not real life. Now, look, police work is about 90% dull, monotonous, boring routine, and a ton of paperwork to boot.
Paperwork, like the log you want us to write.
Exactly. Your best recollections of the both of you, singly, that you ever spent with the suspect.
I still don't see what good that is going to do.
Didn't you say that you wanted to help nail the person?
Well, of course, Robert. You know that.
And trust me, will you? This is the best way to help. Now, you get a book or a piece of paper, whatever, and write everything down. When you got it down, call me.
We'll do it together, right away.
Frisco?
All right, whatever you say.
Good. I'm going over to Donnelly to check on Heinz's alibi. Can I drop you home?
Yes, please. You know, you'll be surprised how much more you remember when you start writing it down.
And listen, include everything, no matter how small or insignificant the detail. Put it all down. I'll be waiting for your call.
We'll do our best.
Bye, darling. All right. What would be of most help right now would be to establish what Heinz was doing the day of the hospital incident. Now, he was still working for you then, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
Would your work records show what he was doing that day?
Well, I think they should, Robert, but let's find out for sure, huh? Linda, call Mr. Morgan in the warehouse and have him find Professor Estevez and have them both come up here. Tell them to bring the logs, the work logs, for the past month or so. Right, thank you. I'll be right here, Robert.
Thanks, I appreciate this.
Oh, that's all right, no problem. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I've been thinking. Felicia dropped in the other day and mentioned to Heinz that they were both in the emergency room together the day that all hell broke loose.
Was he in ER?
Well, he said he was. Also said he recovered fast and left.
Where did he go after he left the hospital?
Well, he told me he came back to work. Well, we'll find out whether or not that's true when we see the logs. Ah, here we are, gentlemen. You remember Commissioner Scorpion, of course?
Why are you? Professor?
Linda said you wanted the work log.
Yes, I did, Sam. Do you recall the day that Dr. Jones was attacked at the hospital?
Yes, I recall it very well.
All right, would you check that day in the log and see whether or not Mr. Heinz was working that afternoon?
He was not.
He wasn't at work? Are you sure about that?
Well, the log says he was absent.
Actually, I remember particularly he was not there this afternoon. Because the next day when I asked him why he was not there, he told me he was sick and he looked so healthy to me. I remember particularly saying to...
Excuse me, Professor. Sam, would you please check those entries one more time, please? Make sure they're correct.
Well, it's all right here. You see, I was supervising that day, and I initialed the entry.
If you initial it, what does it say exactly?
Well, it shows that Estevez and I were on the job all afternoon.
What about Heinz?
He left at 11:10 in the morning, and he never came back the rest of the day.
Can you give me a copy of that whole page?
Of course, Robert. Right away. Linda, would you come in, please? Thank you.
What on earth was that sound?
What sound?
That sound you just made. It sounded like a dying gasp.
No, you got it all wrong. That was the sound of unbridled delight. You have a great pair of hands.
I know. That's why you married me.
Actually, there were two reasons.
Oh. What was the other one?
I'll tell you later. I needed that.
Well, tell me me about Heinz, that guy Heinz.
Well, he didn't have an alibi the day that Tony Jones was attacked.
Oh?
Also, he lied to Felicia about going back to work after the emergency.
Sounds like this Mr. Heinz is going to have an awful lot of explaining to do.
A whole lot. You know, I reckon if I can pin this on him, I can solve more than one puzzle. I mean, apart from Tony being attacked, we've also got Peter and maybe Van.
And before even that, you're smoothing out some rough edges, aren't you?
What?
I mean, you're sort of playing Cupid.
Moi?
It's Felicia and Frisco.
What about him?
Now, come on. Don't be ashamed just because you're the sentimental type. It's one of the reasons why I love you so much.
Well, I'm delighted, but what have I done?
Telling those two to write a log together, really.
I was serious.
Oh, I know. But if they accidentally get back together again whilst they're doing it?
Look, it's just an every ordinary day occurrence. Yeah.
Well, if they do get back together again, guess who's going to take all the credit for it?
Who?
You.
No?
Yeah.
Holly, wait till you see what my grandmother brought from the hacienda.
Oh, now, Felicia, it isn't really that good a picture of Mr. Slater.
A picture? Look, Holly, see. Slater and Heinz are the same.
Yes. How on earth did you get this picture of him? There isn't a picture of Heinz in Port Charles.
Well, it was purely accidental. I was trying to photograph one of our guests.
And Heinz Slater just walked in front of the camera without knowing.
It's a good thing he didn't know you took the picture.
Why, dear?
If he had tried to attack you and Laura at the hacienda, he's a dangerous man.
Yes. And dangerous men don't like having their picture taken.
Sean, got a question about that money that Heinz stole.
Anything you want, Robert?
Where was it kept?
The safe?
Where?
There, inside the table.
Could I see it?
All right, but why?
I'd like to get a good set of Heinz fingerprints. My man's in Heinz's office. I'll bring him through if that's all right.
Well, of course it's all right, Robert.
Sean, it isn't all right. What are we going to do?
Yeah, what do we do? The jewels are in there. You gave him the money. Now there are no fingerprints in the safe.
If Slater's fingerprints are not in that safe, he's going to know you were lying when you said that he robbed it.
His fingerprints are not going to be in that safe.
So what are you going to do?
I have 2 seconds before that man comes back, and there's nothing I can do in 2 seconds.
There you go. Right there.
Notice how my old WSB buddy doesn't miss a trick, huh?
Well, could be evidence in court someday.
Yeah, Robert, I've been doing some thinking. His fingerprints may not be in that safe. Now, if he does have a criminal record, he might have worn gloves.
Your guy's been pretty sloppy today.
No, please don't call him my guy. And what do you mean, anyway?
Well, if he was in such a hurry, he may not have worn gloves.
Possible.
Could you open the safe, mate?
Oh, sure. See if his prints are inside.
Also to see if he stole that money.
On the nose, Robert. Here we are. It's empty.
Completely cleaned out?
Scoured.
Looks like we have some good ones here, Commissioner.
Good. This will just take a moment or two, mate.
No problem, Robert.
Anything else there apart from cash?
No, we keep everything else in the bank. We only keep cash in the safe.
Only cash.
Securities?
No, nothing. Just cash.
Good.
Well, is that about it?
We've got it. It's right here, Commissioner.
Good. Well, as you said before, there may not be any prints at all if you use gloves.
I'd like to know as soon as possible, Robert.
As soon as I know something. Ready?
Yes, just a second here. All right.
Well, thank you. Gentlemen?
Thanks, Robert.
Mr. Commissioner?
Yeah.
Captain Ramsey's picking you up in his car to take you over to your place fast. We've got a new development.
Good.
I expect Robert will be here soon.
Oh, good.
Oh, boy. What a driver this guy's got. I've got to be 10 years older than when I left this morning.
He's good.
Good to see you, love.
It's good to be here.
Thanks for coming so quickly.
You know what? You know what she's got here?
What?
I came across it as I was packing to get here.
Look.
Heinz.
Well, also Slater.
What?
When I came across the picture, I knew that it would even be better than my trying to give a description of him to the police artist.
It's the real thing, Bert.
Yeah. If that's Slater, he is also Heinz.
Slater didn't know that the picture was being taken by Mariah. It was an accident.
Just as well. Okay, listen, I want to talk to you, love, but listen, before that, let's get this to headquarters. I want to duplicate it and a copy sent to the New York police.
Right. Driver.
Bert, New York and the surrounding cities, all right?
I'm so glad to be able to help.
Really, I told you.
Felicia.
She had to go on to Kelly's to do some work, but she says she'll wait there for you for the meeting with Frisco.
Good. All right, I want to talk, Mariah, but before you answer any questions, think very carefully regarding this Slater-Heinz person.
Well, I do know that beneath that boyish charm, he is ruthless.
He's also a killer, and we're going to nail him. Well, I hope all my questions haven't worn you out.
Oh, no. No, not at all. No, I'll do anything I can to help you catch this dreadful man. But now, if you're through with me for a while...
I think so, love. And listen, that photograph was worth all your trouble.
Oh. Well, then I'm going to go upstairs and have a little rest, and then afterwards I'm going over to Kelly's and talk to Felicia.
She's doing all right, you know.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. Holly, you know, you gave her very good advice.
Often she doesn't. However, she gives great advice regarding, you know, affairs of the heart and all that.
Oh, that's better.
I'll be down in a little while.
I hope this is some good news for a change.
Yeah, me too.
Speak of the devil.
Hello. Well, hello. Hi. Who, me?
Yeah, always, Bert.
Look, that story of Donnelly's about being robbed checks out. The fingerprints belong to Heinz.
Also Slater.
Good.
Well, the prints we got off those red boots match up with the ones that we found inside the safe. Oh, here, take this. I also have Mariah's snapshot. I thought she might want it back.
How's the lab coming with those hair samples from Heinz's hotel room?
Well, we should have a make by noon tomorrow. Then we'll know if the hair that we took off that discarded mask matches up with the set of hair that we took out of his hotel room. That should really nail him, Robert.
One more thing. We need witnesses to testify as to his movements at the hospital. Now, Felicia and Frisco are working on that for me now.
Yes, they're planning to meet you later at Kelly's.
Yeah, my next move. I want a copy of these sent to Washington.
Yeah, that's already been done. Look, I've got to get back to the office.
Yeah, I'll see you there shortly, hopefully.
Okay, very good. Bye, Holly.
Bye. What's the matter?
Nothing.
Go on, I think there is. You want me to guess?
Not especially.
Oh, that's because I'm usually so good at guessing.
Not always.
Heinz prints are in Washington. Now, what if he has a record? It'd be awfully strange if Donnelly had hired a man like that without running a check first. What if he...
Don't say it, Holly.
But...
If you can manage it, don't even think it.
I'm surprised that you're even thinking it.
Sure, Donnelly's the best friend I ever had. I trust him with my life. God only knows he's saved it often enough.
Right, just as recently as last November when
Right.
we were in Mexico.
And he took that bullet in the shoulder, the one that Peter had earmarked for my heart.
Well, I have been known to guess what you're thinking wrong sometimes.
Nice of you to remember that. Back to the chase.
Exactly the way to put it.
There's our police inspector.
Sorry to keep you waiting.
Hello,
Things have
Robert.
been happening.
We got any closer to the guy?
As soon as I have a look at what you've got, I'll fill you in. I'm still waiting on a lab report and some printouts from Washington. So I'm
There you
expecting
are.
the body of my information to come from these notes.
Mm-hmm.
This is very good.
Thanks.
Very alert of you to note that Dr. Palmer detained Heinz when he was leaving the emergency room.
He stuck a thermometer in his mouth.
When Palmer had finished talking to me on the phone, Heinz had given him the slip.
That's right.
Which made Heinz on the loose, free and clear to do whatever he liked when that smoke started, and at the peak of confusion in the hospital. I think we now have a much clearer picture. The people in New York will know they're dealing with a killer.
What about the other guy?
The accomplice?
Well, this proves that someone else had to be involved.
Yeah, but we don't know who he is yet.
Well, as you said, he still could be in Port Charles.
Right. This is very, very good work.
Yeah, well,
What?
Felicia deserves most of the credit. She did most of the work. Listen, I'm going to the hospital now. I want to see if I can check up on Tanya and maybe see Tony.
I may see you there later.
Okay.
Bye.
Things seem to be a little better between you and Frisco.
Maybe a little.
That's good.
And it's a little too complicated to explain, but I owe a lot to Holly.
Don't we all?
Oh, Sean.
Hello, Holly.
You missed Robert by about 15 minutes or so. Actually, he's rather near your place. He's at Kelly's.
Oh, maybe I can catch him over there. Could I use your phone?
Of course.
Thanks. I don't know whether or not Robert told you, but this business at General Hospital is hitting rather close to home. Man who worked for me,
Yes, I know. Matt Heinz.
Oh, of course you'd know. I just wanted to come over and see about some fingerprints that were found inside my safe. Robert said he'd let me know.
Yes, he was telling me that he was going to let you know, but he's been so busy today. I could tell you.
About the prints?
Well, yes. One of the sets of prints found inside the safe belonged to your Mr. Heinz.
Oh, I'd appreciate it very much, Holly, if you wouldn't call him my Mr. Heinz. I mean, I can't understand how in the world I ever let a man like that into my organization in the first place.
You must be very upset.
Yeah, I am a bit upset. I leave the WSB to go into private life, and what happens? I get careless. A young guy comes to me, open, friendly, and I bite hook, line, and sinker. I even ran a routine check on him down in Mexico, but he was clean down there.
Yes, Robert was concerned about your hiring someone like
He
that.
must think I'm a damn fool.
Oh, Robert would never think anything like that.
Well, too soft, anyway.
Well, perhaps a little soft, but why not? You've been living the easy life in Mexico. Hello, Sean.
Well, hello, Mariah.
Oh, it's good to see you
Oh,
again.
it's good to see you. Hello.
You've been so kind to Felicia.
Well, I'm sorry I haven't been able to help her out lately. She's been going through a pretty bad time. But it certainly is a pleasure seeing you here in Port Charles.
Well, Robert had me flown in. I have to go right back in the morning. I have cleared up the mystery of who Mr. Slater is.
Slater,
Yes. I have a picture here. Oh, right over here. Look.
This is Matt Heinz.
You didn't know that he used two names?
No, Holly, I didn't. I mean, I'm sure Robert has already given copies of this to the police by now.
Yes, he's a marked man.
Yes, certainly is.
Everything quiet here?
Oh, Robert.
Same?
Yeah, it's the same as before. His condition is stabilized.
I got that from Palmer.
Right.
He said that we may be able to move him shortly. Get him out of ICU, and I thought maybe put him in obstetrics. That won't have a guard with him all the time.
Uh-huh. That's good. That's good. I'm very grateful, Robert.
Listen, I'm grateful for your attitude since you, since I let you out of jail.
Yeah. It was quite a dressing down you gave me, but, it's sunk in. Robert, listen.
What?
Now that we definitely know that it's Heinz or Slater or what the hell ever you want to call him, now that we know that this is the guy that we're after, isn't there more that I can do to help? I mean, I just want one go at him before you lock him up, please.
You're going to be at the end of a very long line.
I wouldn't care.
I don't even want you thinking about it.
What do you mean?
I want you to think about the man or men that helped Slater get to Tony. Now, we know at this point that he couldn't have done it alone. In his own way, this other guy is just as dangerous. Perhaps he's still here in Port Charles. What I'm trying to tell you here is Tanya and Tony need you now more than ever.
Robert, do you have any idea who this other man is?
Good. Hi, Robert. Sorry to bother you at home.
Don't be. Not on this case.
That's what I figured.
You got something?
Yeah, I've been checking on alibis.
Donnelly's?
Yeah, and that was the very first one I checked.
Okay, let's have it.
Well, it would appear that your old buddy Donnelly would... What?
Oh, don't mind me. I just live here.
Oh, we're just talking business, Holly. Nothing terribly important.
Oh, go right ahead. I couldn't care less.
She'll get over it. All right, Donnelly's alibi. What is it? Does it check out?
Wait, I don't get it. Surely you don't suspect Donnelly?
No?
Well, I thought he was one of your best friends.
What does that have to do with anything?
Don't you trust your friend?
Trust the facts.
Well, the fact that Slater worked for Donnelly certainly doesn't mean that Donnelly was involved in the murder attempt.
I dearly hope you're right.
But you're not convinced.
Till there's would-be killers behind bars, I suspect everyone.
Well, I think you can put your friend Donnelly at the bottom of your list.
His alibi checks out?
Well, according to the airline, Sean Donnelly was nowhere near Port Charles when either of the attempts on Jones's life were made.
For what that's worth.
Well, it should be worth a lot, considering that we know Slater was in town on both occasions.
True.
And we definitely have evidence that Slater was at the hospital the night of the knifing.
Thanks to Frisco and Felicia.
So that gives us 2 strikes on Slater.
It's a start.
Well, Robert, what more do you want?
Some more pieces to the puzzle.
Well, listen, if that...
She's coming again.
Holly.
Oh,
Don't. You
Holly.
might say something that I'm not supposed to hear.
All right, you've made your point.
I only came in to ask if you and Dr. Watson here wanted some coffee.
I'd like you to sit and listen to this.
Why? Is the good part over?
Sit, please.
Me too, I think.
All right. Now, it was you that made the connection between Slater and Heinz. Now, at this point, that could link him to Peter and the treasure.
Oh, Robert, you're reaching.
I'm just trying to pull a few of these loose ends together. Now, obviously, we can't make any connection between Slater and Peter. Not yet, anyway.
Well, what makes you so sure?
Well, I don't know. I'm not even sure whether there is one, but if there is, I intend to find it. And then we have the business of the accomplices. I mean, we know he didn't do this job at the hospital on his own.
Well, sure, somebody had to ignite that smoke powder.
Right.
Yes, but who?
And where are they now? I mean, did his partner or partners leave town with him?
Well, we found no sign of Slater in Manhattan. I've got men checking every flea bag in town.
Maybe that's not such a good idea.
Why not?
My guess is you're wasting your time.
Robert, what would you suggest that we do?
Check out the best hotels. Don't forget, Slater took some money from Donnelly. He may be doing this in style.
Well, you're right. I never thought of that.
See what you can find out, mate.
Yeah, I'll get right on it. Bye, Holly.
Bye.
Hungry? I've got dinner cooking.
I'm hungry, but not for food. One way or another, I'm gonna nail Slater.
You know what would be nice?
What?
For us to get through dinner without you having to rush off somewhere. I mean, when was the last time you and I sat through an entire meal together without you going off somewhere?
Breakfast?
Toast and coffee doesn't count.
No, I'm not planning on anything for the evening.
Except being with me.
Something might come up, though.
It had better not. I didn't hear that, did you?
Sorry. Scorpio. What? Where? All right. Tell him not to touch a thing. I'll be right there.
Well, it was very nice dining with you.
I gotta run.
Somehow, I knew you were going to say that.
I found a footlocker of Slater's at the Port Charles Hotel. I'm hoping it will have some interesting goodies in it.
Well, I hope it's worth it.
So do I. Listen, don't hold dinner for me, all right?
I'll see you at breakfast. If I'm lucky.
Evening. I'm gonna run. Police business, you know.
Yes, as usual. What else?
Bye.
Bye. Well, come right on in. You're just in time for dinner.
I have to talk to you.
Well, I'm not going anywhere.
I've made up my mind, and I wanted to tell you before you heard it from anyone else.
Tell me what?
I'm divorcing Grant.
I see.
Well, you don't sound very surprised.
Oh, should I be? I mean, I've seen this coming for quite some time.
Yes, I suppose you have.
But I am sorry. Do you have any other marital plans?
You mean Jimmy Lee? Yes, we might get married. I don't know.
It's funny. I always thought you and Grant had such a good, strong marriage.
Well, there was a time when I thought so, too.
You know, you've been through so much together. All those adventures that you've had. That business with the DVX, the trial.
Yes, we have been through some exciting times, haven't we?
It seems such a shame to turn your back on all of that.
Holly, let me tell you, the thrill is long gone. Grant was trained from childhood to lead a very disciplined life. He'd never learned how to be spontaneous, how to have fun. And now that he's settled down, he is one big bore.
Well, I understand your need for a little excitement. I've been battling that same demon myself lately.
I can't live without it. The man I love has got to make me feel like anything could happen.
And Jimmy Lee does.
Far more than Grant.
Well, you're probably not going to be surprised at what I say, and that is that I'm not particularly sure that Jimmy Lee is the right man for you either. I mean, he's a little crude.
I find his earthy quality very appealing.
Well, call it whatever you want, but I'm afraid that you might get bored with him, too.
Well, I've got to do something.
If I were you, I'd check out the waters very carefully before I dove in. It may be a very big mistake to rush into a marriage with Jimmy Lee Hall.
The janitor's messing around. I heard their voices, but when I got there, they were gone.
Well, they probably heard you coming.
As long as there were anyone near the footlocker, I could care less.
I can't wait to see what Slater left for us.
One damning piece of evidence proving that he's our man. It would be good enough for me.
This is it.
Then open it.
All right. Okay. Does that? There we go. Yeah.
Gun oil.
Yeah, but no gun.
Damn.
I wonder if it was the one that Slater used on Jones.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised, would you?
He must have taken it to New York with him.
Well, he couldn't have carried it on the plane. Is there anything else of value in there?
Take a look,
Nothing
fella.
we can use.
Just sort of junk flying around stored in somebody's garage or attic.
All right, seal it up. I want forensics to have a look at it. Tell them to go over every square inch of this case. They may find something. Whatever it is, it'll never be as damning as the recovery of that gun. If only we'd found it. Nice shot.
Well, the old pro hasn't lost his touch.
You can be had.
Certainly not by you.
Yeah? Give me a dart. Listen, I want to thank you for letting me bounce ideas off you.
I enjoy it. It's like old times.
Nothing like a couple of WSB minds to sift through information like this.
What in particular do you want to discuss, Robert?
Slater, just indulge me for a minute.
Of course.
Now, Slater came from Mexico.
As far as we know.
Then we have Van that was knifed. Probably involved in the treasure hunt with Peter.
True.
And when Peter himself turns up in Port Charles, he's knifed. Much the same way that Van was. Again, probably more of Slater's handiwork.
What are you driving?
Wait, just let me go on. I haven't quite put it all together yet. But I want to share a sort of a half-baked notion with you.
What's that?
I think this treasure exists.
Oh, come on.
Now, wait a minute. You think about it. Now, what else? What else would have attracted Peter
and van to Port Charles. And they died because they knew something. Something that Slater didn't want to get out.
Aren't you getting a little ahead of your facts here?
I haven't given it to you all yet. I also think that the Cassidines figure in this somewhere.
Well, this I gotta hear.
All right, listen. Everybody used to hang out around the waterfront. Now, Van was knifed in a sleazy dive down there. Peter was probably knifed down there too. However, he hauled himself over to that Pullman car.
So?
So it leads me to conclude that whatever clues are lying around regarding this treasure are going to be found down at the waterfront.
Sounds pretty far-fetched to me.
Better idea?
Sorry to bother you, Mr. Donnelly, but the shipment you were expecting from Mexico just arrived.
Thank you, Linda.
Not even close. What's the matter, old pro? Losing your touch? What's with you, mate? Your mind's not on the game.
You have me there, Robert? Seems my aim is off.
Not like you to throw a simple game of darts.
I guess my mind is on other things.
Maybe it's on that shipment from Mexico.
I get shipments in here every day from all over the world.
Well, something put you off the mark. Maybe you were upset when you heard about that shipment from Mexico.
Why should I be?
Because Slater comes from Mexico. Because that's where Peter was before he came to Port Charles. That's where the Aztec treasure comes from.
You know, all along, Robert, I thought you were the commissioner of the police department for Port Charles. Since when did you become commissioner for the National Tourist Bureau of Mexico?
My mind's been south of the border ever since Tony got shot.
What are you trying to say to me, friend?
Things I don't even want to think, Sean.
Then you better spell it out.
I want to take a look at that shipment from Mexico.
You know, Robert, for a moment there, I thought you were accusing me of smuggling a treasure into Port Charles that doesn't even exist.
Would I do something like that to you, good friend?
I don't know. Would you, good friend?
Look, all I'm saying is that if there is a treasure, and if it's being smuggled out of Mexico, and if an ex-employee of yours happens to be involved.
That's a lot of ifs, Robert.
Look, Heinz, a.k.a. Slater, had you conned all the time he was working for you.
All that means is that I'm getting older and slipping a little.
Heinz was also behind that second attempt on Tony Jones' life at the hospital, and he didn't do it alone.
So he had an accomplice.
So maybe that person or persons are operating on your payroll, too.
Sounds to me like you really want to inspect that cargo from the Mexican shipment.
Let's put it this way. I'd appreciate it.
I could ask for a search warrant.
Call it an act of faith between friends.
Excuse me. Donnelly here.
I'm sorry to bother you, but Bert Ramsey told me that I could find Robert there.
Oh, sure, Holly. He's here. Hang on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, Holly.
Oh, you sound cross.
I'm busy.
Well, I was just turning down the sheets on the bed, and I wondered what time you'd be home.
Why don't you keep them warm for me, love? I'll be home soon.
You promise?
I promise.
So, where were we?
You tell me. You want a search warrant?
I've got nothing to hide.
I thought you did.
Look, I want to catch Matt Heinz as much as you do, Robert.
So what are we arguing about? Let's go look at that cargo.
Hey, that's a good idea, buddy. You got it. Let's go.
Head up, you can. Quite an operation, Danny.
Ah, here we are, Bay D. Yeah, it is a pretty good operation. You do all right. What can I tell you? What can I tell you?
I haven't seen this part of your organization before.
Oh, that's right. You've never been in the warehouse before, have you?
Yours.
Big, isn't it?
This it? Yeah, this is it.
Here, maybe this will help you. It's the bill of lading for the Mexican shipment.
That's not really necessary.
Go on, take it. I wouldn't want you to think I was hiding anything.
You're making this difficult for me, you know.
Well, maybe this will make it easier. Go on, be my guest.
What's bugging you?
Nothing. You wanted to see the shipment, so I brought you down here. No problem.
You and I go way back, Sean, and I mean way back. You must know it's Slater's accomplice I'm after and not you.
The only thing I know is that you won't be satisfied until you inspect the cargo from the shipment, so why don't you do it and get it over with?
You're a strange bird, Sean Donnelly.
Quite lovely. I guess, more of the same in there.
If that's what it says in the book of lading.
Let's try this one.
Very, very nice. I would imagine the frame is probably worth as much as the painting.
I really wouldn't know. Professor Estevez picked up most of this stuff for me. There seems to be a surge in the market for Mexican artwork here and abroad.
Yeah, I can imagine. Merchandise is as good as this. So what we've got here.
Oh. Guess this sort of makes me a material witness, huh? All right. Once we go the whole way. Very nice indeed.
Satisfied?
Satisfied.
I'm not.
All right. It's your turn. I deserve it.
If it wasn't for our friendship, Robert, I really would. Who the hell do you think you are, running roughshod like some vigilante? The next time you want to play Marshal Dillon, buddy, you better be sure you've got a search warrant.